Ray Catena Auto Group. For a true luxury automotive experience, go to Ray Catena, the legend in luxury. Last week, a tough 1-2. Had the Dolphins, and they won. They covered easy. I had, I have to remember now. I know I had Seattle. And I had the Jets. Oh, that's my 3. So I went 1-2 last week. So 18 up, 15 down. So we've just been kind of hanging around the last month or so. Really, we've been more down than up the last month because we were off to a very fast start. But 18 wins, 15 losses for the season after 1-2. It should have been 2-1 last week because Seattle had a 10-point lead, which they blew late last week. But it happens. And we reach week 13 in the league where they play for pay. Kind of slim pickings, and when you get to this point in the season, it is very hard to not pick teams that are alive. You know, if you're going to pick teams that are out of it, you have to really feel they are. Like, I think Seattle is showing you something, and I think Miami is showing you something. And teams like that, I can see making a case for. But for the most part, you try to stay with teams that are, moving in the right direction. Game number 1, San Francisco has had, like some of these other teams, will have had, like the Packers, like the Cowboys, will have had 11 days off as they take to the field Sunday afternoon at home against a beleaguered Ram team, which is just really kind of going through the motions here at 2-9. The one thing is, there's 2 reasons why I very much like the Niners in this game. Number 1, this is, believe it or not, always a rivalry game. The Niners and the Rams will never like each other. It doesn't matter records, doesn't matter anything else. There are certain rivalry games, and this is a rivalry game. The other reason is Harbaugh's team is coming off a very rare loss, just their second loss in the season and their first loss in a very long time, in a couple of months. And he is not going to want his young team here in December to develop any bad habits and do any backsliding. With that the case, here is a game that matches up so well for the Niners because the Rams are the worst team in the league versus the run, and the Niners run it well. And the Rams, to have any success, have to run it, and it's very hard to run it on the Niners. So you look at those 2 things, mix in the fact that it's a rivalry, mix in the fact that the Niners are coming off a loss, and you can see a very one-sided game. And Harbaugh, I think, will look to give his team a little bit of a confidence boost here. And to do that, he will do it at the expense of the Rams, and I think this game will get ugly. So the Rams in San Francisco a 13-point favorite. And I like the Niners minus 13, game number 1. Game number 2, I'm staying with the hot hand, and I am going with the Saints in game number 2. The Saints are an 8.5-point favorite, which is an astoundingly high line against the Lions. The bottom line is, though, that the Lions have really played badly in their last 6 games. Losing Sue is not going to overwhelm them. What's going to overwhelm is the fact that nobody can slow down the Saints in their building. They have been unbelievable. They have been unbeatable. They have averaged 40 points a game. They will not call off the dogs. It is a nationally televised game on Sunday night. And I don't think the Lions are up to this because I don't think there's any way for them to slow this Saint team down. And I just think the Lions are way too undisciplined. I think that they have to find their way again. I don't think they have found it right now. I think this will not be the week they find it. They're going to have to regroup if they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to take a little bit of a beating. Plus, people like picking on the Lions now. People like when the Lions come to town. It's like early on, it's a team that people have taken to beating on, and they like it. And if you notice, if you watch Breeze last week, he likes to run up the scores on people. Just you saw what they did to the Giants. I think they'll do the same thing to the Lions. I think they'll put up 35-plus points. I think, I think as you saw with the Giants, the Lions will score. they'll have their big passes and their long passes and their big plays, but they won't slow down the Saints. The Saints will put up 35 or 40. The Lions will put up 20, 22, and you'll have yourself a 41-24 kind of game. The Lions 8.5. Give me the Saints minus 8.5 points in game number 2. Now, game number 3, I had a couple of places to go. I was almost going to pick the Bengals, and I said, you know what? It's not so wise to go against the Steelers at home. I never feel comfortable with that, although I expect a close game there. I looked at the Ravens as a 7-point favorite on the road against the Browns because I think they're so much better, and I said, you know what I'm going to stick with for another week is the Dolphins. Why? Because there's always been a great rivalry between the Dolphins and the Raiders. The Dolphins have had a lot of time off to practice and get ready for the Raiders, and I don't think the Raiders yet are equipped to come across the country and play this kind of game on the road. And they've really been struggling a little bit lately with their offense. I know they kicked a lot of field goals and they got a couple of big breaks in that game, but I could see the Fish coming up big again here and winning this game. I think they want to finish strongly. They come off a disappointing loss where they've played so well in recent weeks. They played well against the Cowboys, and I think they'll play well again here. They are favored in this game. When I made this game in my head, I always try to look at the lines in my head. I made this game pick 'em, and it came up Dolphins 3, and I was like, wow, they are really giving the Dolphins. I mean, the Raiders are 7-4. They are giving the Dolphins a lot of respect here to be a team that has won 3 games and be favored this late over a team that's won 7 games. But they are. They're favored by 3 points, and I'm going with the Dolphins minus 3. I think they will play well. I think they are playing well. I think their defense will play well, and I think the Raiders coming all the way across the country, west to east, and playing the game like this is very difficult. Plus, the Dolphins have had a real hex on the Raiders for a long time. They've beat them 10 of the last 12 times. So the 3 picks, I always like to have an underdog, but I don't this week. I apologize. I couldn't find one. 3 picks. Niners minus 13 over the Rams. The Sunday night game on national TV, the Saints minus 8.5 over the Lions, and the Dolphins minus 3 over the Raiders. The picks for Week 13 on the Fan.
Back 82! Back 82! Put on!